So today I'm just going to give you some of my opinions as to why I find the iPhone 15 or the most recent set of iPhones to be really boring, and why I'm not really compelled to go out there, give Apple my money, and purchase the most recent version of the iPhone. And a lot of it has to do with aesthetics. However, to start off, I'm going to give you a history of the phones that I've used leading up to where we are today. So one of my first cell phones that I ever had was the Nokia 3310 or the 3390. Basically, the Nokia cell phone that was like indestructible. That was my very first cell phone that I had, and it was great. It made phone calls. I could play Snake on it, and I could play like Asteroids or whatever's on the tiny screen. It was a good cell phone. It did its job. Well, then immediately after that, the iPhone came out with the iPhone 2G. And at the time, the reason why I didn't really was able to purchase it myself is because it was really too expensive. I believe at the time the base model was selling for $500 for 8 gigabytes, and I think the next tier up was $600. So that was already an expensive phone at its time. And on top of that, the only way you could really legitimately get the iPhone is to go through AT&T and sign up for a 2-year contract. And then on top of that contract, of course, you would have to buy the phone outright from Apple. So that was really one of the big things about the iPhone 2G. Eventually, my friend gave away his old iPhone to me, so that's how I got really into the first iPhone. And one thing I noticed about it is that it was really slow and laggy. Like you would press a button and you'd have to wait for like half a second or maybe a full second before the app started to load. And the reason for that is because the chip, the CPU that was in the first iPhone, was underclocked to 412 megahertz. So even back then, having a CPU inside of a phone at 412 megahertz, it was underpowered, and Apple had to make that consideration because they wanted to balance out between battery life and the speed of the chip. So it just so happened that the speed of the chip had to be sacrificed in order to get any decent amount of battery life out of the iPhone 2G. After that, I decided to go to the Android side for a bit. And then I believe my first Android phone was the HTC MyTouch 3G. And the reason why I went for that phone is because it was from T-Mobile, and T-Mobile has always been my carrier for the past 20 years. So I had T-Mobile, they were launching their 3G network, and as a result, I wanted to experience 3G. So I spent a lot of money on that phone, and it was just a terrible phone. It was a bad phone because the user interface was a hybrid between a touchscreen and using this really small, fine trackball on the bottom of the phone itself. It was a terrible user experience. And if I remember correctly, I don't even think they implemented pinch to zoom. And if they did at that time, it was slow, it was laggy, it was just a bad experience. So I don't know what kind of processor they put into that phone, but it was bad. So I decided, okay, the phone itself is bad, but I like Android. What's the next phone? It was going to be the Samsung Galaxy S3. And I think a lot of people fell in love with that phone because I think that's one of Samsung's best selling phones of all time. And I really did enjoy that Samsung Galaxy S3. I like the curves to it. I like the screen to it. It had a nice big screen. And one thing I remember about the S3 is I was able to go on the bus and coming home from work, I was able to download torrent files directly on the phone. And then when I got home from work, I would just transfer it and I would watch episodes of House on my big TV, and it was great. So that was the Samsung Galaxy S3. After that, I decided that I wanted to go back to the iPhone. The phone that sucked me in was the iPhone 5S. And the reason why I got that phone is because I was really impressed by the slow mo feature. Well, as it turns out, I really didn't use slow mo that much. But one thing that I really did like about it was the quality of the video. And I think that's when video quality was really starting to pick up with the iPhone. And I remember taking a few trips with it, and I would film outside. I would film the wing because I'm an airplane fanatic also. So I'd go out to the side of the window, I'd film the wing, and it was good. The video quality on the iPhone 5S was really good. But I felt that the screen was a little bit small compared to the Galaxy S3. So I waited about another year or 2 years or so, and the phone after that was the iPhone 6S Plus. And I love that phone. I think that's my favorite iPhone of all time. It was the first iPhone that could record in 4K. It had a really big screen at the time. It had a 4G connectivity. So T-Mobile rolled out their 4G network, and that was the first phone, I believe, that had 4G LTE built into the phone. And it was a good phone. I really liked that phone a lot. Now, things started to take a turn when they came out with the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 8. So when it came out to the iPhone 10, I think the reason why I didn't want to get it at the time also is because of the price. And I believe the iPhone 10 was the first phone that cost $1,000. And ever since then, Apple's kept their phones starting at $1,000. So the 10 came out, and I was like, this is a lot of money. I can't justify spending $1,000 for a phone. And because of that, I decided that I was going to get the iPhone 8. Now, the iPhone 8 wasn't that impressive in my opinion. It was different because it was the first phone that had glass, metal, and glass type of construction going into the phone. And ever since the iPhone 7 came out, the pattern has been the same. The phone will be made out of glass, metal body, and then out of glass again. And that even continues up to this day because what is the iPhone 15? Glass, titanium, glass. So ever since the iPhone 7 came out, I was expecting things to be different. And there are just some things about the iPhone 10 that didn't look right to me. I didn't like how the cameras lined up. I didn't know anything about Face ID and how quick that would be. So I stuck with the iPhone 8. I actually had the iPhone 8 Plus. And it was the first phone that I had with a zoom lens on top of it. So I thought it was pretty cool, but it was a boring phone. It was a black phone and it didn't really offer that much to the table for me. And quite honestly, between that and the 6 Plus or the 6S Plus, I should have just stuck with the 6S Plus. But anyways, that's where I came in with the new design language in the new set of phones. And I had the iPhone 8 for quite a long time, and I skipped the iPhone 10, I skipped the iPhone 11, and right now what I'm filming on right now, this is the iPhone 12. This is the regular iPhone 12. This is not the iPhone 12 Pro. So all of my videos on my channel have been pretty much produced with this iPhone 12, and I really do like the video quality coming out of it. And the way I shoot my videos is I shoot in 4K 60, and that records in the HEVC codec. So whenever you shoot 4K 60 on the iPhone 12, it's going to be using HEVC, which means high efficiency video codec. And that's what I use. I import it over AirDrop onto my Mac, and I do the final edits in Final Cut Pro. It's a really simple workflow because I know that Apple optimizes their video codecs to work really well within iMovie and Final Cut. And because of that, it has no trouble. My MacBook Air has zero trouble editing the video that comes off of my iPhone 12, and it's a really good phone. So when Apple came out with the iPhone 14, the 14 I kind of noticed on my own because it had the dynamic island, and I was really enthralled by the dynamic island and just how cool the animation was. But once again, my iPhone 12 is doing everything that it needed to do, so I'm not going to upgrade. And same thing with even the iPhone 15 Pro. The cameras in the iPhone 15 Pro look really compelling to me. But to be honest, the only phone that I could see myself upgrading to will be the Pro Max, starting at 256 gigabytes of storage. And because of that, the price is already $1,200 for that phone. And once again, I can't justify spending $1,200 for a phone. I mean, that's Mac money. That's computer money at that point. So you would have a choice between either buying a new computer or buying an iPhone. And of course, computers are going to win out. So that's the thing, as I said at the beginning of this. The design language of all of the phones ever since the iPhone 7 have been offering the same redundant pattern when it comes to their designs. Glass, metal body, glass. And at this point, if you look at the form factors of the other manufacturers, guys such as Motorola and especially Samsung, they're coming out with foldable phones that look different, that function differently, yet has a good fit and feel to it. So at this point, the only thing that would really compel me to buy an Apple phone or to really upgrade next year or the year after is if Apple starts coming out with foldable phones. Because the problem with the current set of phones that's being released right now, they're getting too damn big. Now, the latest rumor that I saw for the iPhone 16 is that it's going to come in the size of 6.3 inches and 6.9 inches. And I never want to put basically a 7-inch phone into my pocket. I would not want to have something that big and that unwieldy into my pocket, even if it's going to be lighter because it has a titanium frame to it. So that's my biggest problem with the iPhone right now. They look the same. It's a candy bar phone, and the size is just getting ridiculous. And I think the only way that Apple is going to be able to address that issue is if they start making foldable phones. So that's really the only thing that's going to compel me to buy an Apple phone anytime in the near future. Um, but the good thing about the newest iPhones are the cameras, because I noticed the video quality that people are shooting with the iPhone 15. I mean, even MKBHD said that one of his most recent videos was done completely on the iPhone 15, and the video quality in his videos are impeccable. So for him to say that he used an iPhone 15 to make one of his videos, I think that's quite an accomplishment coming from Apple and being able to put that much video quality into a phone. So the one thing that would compel me to buy a phone right now is because of that iPhone 15 camera. But in terms of the form factor itself, I think Apple is lacking. I think their creativity has come to a halt. And right now, in terms of form factor, I don't see anything else coming different that would compel me to make me want to buy the newest iPhone. So that's where I stand on the current line of iPhones. Why I say the current set of iPhones is boring, why it's been the same design for years, and the template for the modern day iPhones really goes back to the iPhone 11, because the iPhone 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, they all pretty much look the same. So I'm really hoping with the iPhone 16, Apple comes out with a new design that makes me want to go out there and spend my money and give Apple $1,200. And finally, I just want to say, thank you for subbing. Now, the thing about me and my channel, and I never want to say never, I'm not going to say never, but for the time being, I really don't want to be the guy to say, please subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, watch my future videos. No, I don't want to be that dude. So when it comes out to future videos, I have to earn your subscription. Because for someone to click the subscribe button and the bell icon, I have to earn that from you. So I don't want to be the guy who has like 11,000 subs, but when you look at the video content, you're only getting about maybe 1,000 views per video. No, I want to be able to earn your subscription. I want to be able to make compelling videos for you, just to have my opinion or just to like say something about it, whatever's. And I just want you guys to if you like the video, hit the like button. So the thing about the like button is if I read that on my stats and if I see enough likes, that means I'm doing something right. And because of that, that's just gonna give me the motivation to make more videos. But if you don't like it, don't like it. Hit thumbs down. All right, that's about it. Peace.